Kugusalami, Shalom, welcome to the channel with more likes than views. I'm happy to see you. I can't see you, but you can see me. For orientation in this video, just wanted to, this is a little bit different about narcissists than the other channels, which I recommend and put in the description down. From the narcissist to himself, to herself, or others, or the pretended romantic relationships, the people, your tribe, the country, or the World Economic Forum. First documented description of the narcissist is the Greek mythology Narcissus. And to be clear, it's very interesting there because he falls in love with his image in the water and not himself. And for those who want to pretend to be very educated, you can read up that in the psychiatric definition of the narcissistic personal disorder in the DSM-5 under 301/81. Or if you're European and even more distinguished like me, then you find it in the ICD-10 under F6081. What have you thought when I said F? Whatever. There are also sometimes overt, covert, communal, antagonistic, malignant narcissism, and they all do not love themselves. They love the image they want to present like a mask. They carry as personality with the biggest enemy being the actual personality, as they themselves are only the object carrying the mask personality, the narcissistic ego, the image the narcissist wants to project. And I call this in this video, simply to make it simple, the mask. And the narcissist I call always he now, because to replace every pronoun with repeating 72 pronouns, the video becomes too long, dear narcissists. A person with that disorder interacts with the mark like in creepy movies does a schizophrenic child molester with a sock puppet that's like the sudden failing in their own voice disturbs their performance. And everybody else is also an object serving the mask like philosophers to himself. The narcissist version of fairness is, we all serve my mask, even me. Everybody is at least not to disturb that illusion, and the narcissist himself carries the lion's share, really upholding the mask. So to the narcissist, others are either things that have a function for the mask or don't exist, or are MAGA people that you have to run over with your car if they are still young enough to avoid white supremacy, like from Larry Elder. Therefore, a narcissist doesn't have relationships, but the mask of the narcissist has relationships with the functions around the mask that are carried by the fellow objects with other human beings. And the narcissist people like each other, and they have their movements and World Economic Forums, and because the other mask carrier, he gets it.
He gets it.
It's not who you are, but detached from yourself, what you present, like we have in profiles and social media after the photo filter and Evita that even Joe Biden could have plagiated better. So natural occurring in a population had been reported 1% of the world population is pathological narcissistic, and originally out of 10 narcissists, 8 are men and 2 are women, which makes today, by I approximate 9 billion people, that we have 72 million men. But there are some movements working hard for equity. So a neuroplasticity, that's when your brain says, okay, this part of the brain now takes this job over. Neuroplasticity allows to learn even, for example, and PTSD. You can learn it by having heavy traumas in war, for example. Or you can learn sadism by participation after joining ISIS or the Gestapo, and sorry for insulting Nazis and I guess stoners. And by stones, there's a law in France for you, jurisprudence from 2019, a limit Traore, that results in smoking cannabis makes killing Jews legal. Back to narcissism, even if you ever left that divide. Upholding the mask doesn't work for everyone, and sometimes learning to become a narcissist has. And we observe people that there are strange people that can't accept them there because they refuse selling other human beings like themselves on a dating app meat market. They even don't have Instagram or TikTok or whatever. And Narcissist United will rank in their trust stream this video after mentioning that now is happening an increase of teenage girls taking themselves biologically out of the occasion. Or that in Swiss, where self-cancellation is legal and became even a tourism, like rent a room, pay in advance, including the removal of your physical shell afterwards, are now 60% female, not only in university outperforming men. And today we are raising the third generation of single moms, single motherhood, while your boys land in prison and girls after an overdose in the morgue because as a single or a single mom, if first was a Tinder narcissist, but to be fair, with lots of positive customer reviews, because tall. And in any case, a lifelong marriage is evil. Some girls also don't go professional, but will become single moms themselves from the 1%ers, the 72 million men that are on the planet, making everybody happy except men. Because every woman has the obligation to have sex like a man with malignant narcissistic personality disorder. Or, if she doesn't want to, she wants to be a slave of the 1950s and must be shunned as a counter-revolutionary conservative because there's no gray zone. Like equal.
You know the thing.
Some sons of single mom become famous like Pol Pot, Stalin, Hitler. For a narcissist, there is no improvement, or in other words, there is body positivity. There is, you earned it, you deserve it, you're unique like a snowflake, YOLO. Because for a narcissist, changing the secondary object, his person that carries the mask, doesn't change the mask itself, and therefore is a total waste. Instead of individualism of the person, the individual is the mask carry object. It's now shame culture, and as there's nothing to learn, there's simply only cancel. Learning as a person, or growing, or learning in tandem in a relationship is then simply translated into failing the main function to carry the mask. You failed as a narcissist, being distracted by the object carrying the mask, which is you. There's a little shih tzu, only that for the narcissist, there aren't several personalities, there's only one, which is the mask, not the person. And the mask itself has no problems, as the real you doesn't exist, and it's the others that have a problem with the mask. So they should go to therapy. So elaborating new features from somebody else is more like augmenting the volume of a mask, like when the EU President Ursula von der Leyen considers herself being Trump.
Pour produire un nouveau vaccin. Nous l'avons fait en 10 mois. C'est une grande réussite scientifique. Nous devrions en être fiers.
Only the therapeutics mentioned by Mr. Orange, they are forbidden. Most of somebody who loves the actual person of the narcissist. Whom is he loving? The object carrying of the mask? Are you objectifying me? Yeah, that's the new version of the misocentrology, and the actual double X-ism grievances had been justified by opposing that specific behavior of a narcissistic man that was sanctioned and even recommended in Europe 200 years ago. Men did treat women like objects, serving to uphold his image, the toxic male, that cheats, appreciates his partner only for the functions of cleaning, cooking, and being something pretty to show off, and if getting old or used, is exchanged for another model, a younger one normally. Like today, men are exchanged for the taller guy with that car. The toxic male that are actually all male narcissists, not all men. Kidding. Gillette is totally right that all men are toxic narcissists, and a woman should be the same.
Right.
So that's according to the better people by birth as I can't achieve that by merit movement, because only misogynists like me believes that women don't need men's help to be smart, even not by quotas or affirmative action, because Lisa might not never existed and you don't know who that is even. So if you go through DSM-5 through the diagnostic symptoms and compare that with the recommendation of the movement with pink beanies and like Matlock and Golden Girls blue hair, only deeper blue. But that's not science, because science is a man called Dr. Fauci.
So it's easy to criticize, but they're really criticizing science, because I represent science.
And he was bought by Mrs. Fleming from the United Nations.
We're becoming much more proactive. We own the science, and we think that the world, should know it. And
It's a slave thing. And you should believe it, or you transphobic, Nazi, misogynist, white supremacist too. Because thanks to Ibram Kendi, I recently became white. Women can develop the same intellectual virtue as men, including psychopathologies, in my opinion. So you should, as Lise Borden said, believe a woman. And when the narcissist community felt menaced by the front-hall personism, they simply joined its leadership in the fourth remake of the suffrage movement today. And their first feminine is always being a resentful, offended victim, and the ideal woman is born with a swing slang and hits other women as a world champion of the MMA to death, or swims really fast in the CCP Genocide Olympics. Even as male feminists or as PUA observing the success that an impersonate avatar in their own bodies, a mask has. Serving functions, no content. You recognize male feminists by their freezer. In it are three heads of women reminding him of his nanny Idi Amin style. Former versions of the Inism confirm Jewish tradition. The throwaway man version does not. That's the marriage problem in our community. Okay, you are right not to trust me, because I'm handicapped, physical, I'm hemiplegic, and my mental handicap is an IQ of 164. I should cut that out. Okay, you might not trust me, and you should be right. I'm a dating disaster that admitted his love to every woman before they started a relationship. Really, I do that. But in my defense, it happened only 6 times so far, and 3 times, that's a 50% success rate. It followed a long relationship, including one divorce from a malignant narcissist. And after that, the Migothone W was the only thing admitting that there was something with characteristics of a narcissist. It was female also. So, and that's the reason why I'm still a part of the planet's overpopulation. So actually, these extremes that the Mick Way complains about is the support of female-born malignant narcissist behavior. So there are now in the gender war 2 movements. The feminism or the mix that walk their own street that might fusion together. Of course, that's politically incorrect because all men are human doings. What have you done for me lately? Objects with a function for feminism or mix that walk on their highway cannot be named. It's like these evil online memes that now are by European directive under siege as they might incite disliking of the elite. Don't forget, before the industrialization or even before any civilization, in a couple, like Stone Age, a male narcissist had easy game in case of non-compliant servant objects. History wasn't kind to women. The Napoleonic Code recommends, for example, to hit your wife like a poplar twice a day. Men have denser bones and due to testosterone build easier muscle, and even Lizzie Borden needed an axe. So you might say that the original suffrage movement, first wave feminism, had by accident in 1948 their first convention just after in 1847 Samuel Colt's revolver got for the US Army under Samuel Walker in mass production, making all humans equally strong. However, Joe Biden, famous for sniffing girls' hair, is against constitutional carry, that's right-wing, and don't mention Tara Reid. In case of a malignant narcissist personality disorder affected, you can sell anything for maintenance of the mask to the secondary object, the person itself, and who cares? And as 80% of commercial decisions are statistically made by women, guess who's targeted to be squeezed into the narcissist boot camp? You deserve it. No obligations, no responsibility. You live only once, by now and then Switzerland. Sorry, Switzerland, but having liberal gun laws without school shootings really insults the narrative. As mentioned, that the mask can't improve. And there's also in ICD-10 and DSM-5 the symptom that narcissists want to be above all others. That's only possible if everybody else goes down. Thus, the narcissist enjoys destroying people and never says sorry. So like, come on man, there is no inflation. It's your fault that you haven't bought the electric car, and overall there are too many of you. Life is on Earth is carbon-based. People fart CO2, so zero carbon means Not the narcissist who cares the lion's share of to maintain the mass, but you are the carbon too much. You are overpopulation. Because Karl Marx also wrote, instead of believing in God, everybody should be his own son, which describes a planet full of narcissists, and the rest gets socialized away for the Lebensraum. Because there is more cake if divided for only 2 people than if there are 3. Unfortunately, the third one was the baker. Shrinking market basics on eternal diminishing resources, because nobody has new ideas, because everybody with critical questions. Why should I, a narcissist, care about your problems when for your problems cares the socialist state? Therefore, what a narcissist concerns, you can rest in the ditch. And that program only didn't work the last 99 times as narcissists didn't try enough. Disagree? Paper? Nuke them all, I already bought my bunker.